Talk is Cheap Dim Light Edition.
Talk is cheap after dark.
That's a good one. You gotta start saving the post. I post too much shit for you to try to scroll back.
I know. Found it.
First one's Drew Brees. So first question is that just a troll.
Yeah. How cheap is the talk? It's free.
Yeah, we're gonna start trying to charge a subscription fee here soon. We really should. They probably all do it just because they're like they want to support us and never watch anyway.
Yeah.
All right, screw it. People can watch it back, or they'll join later. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk is Cheap. I'm your host, Zach Cooper. This is my co-host, Brent Johansson. Today we're going to answer any questions regarding Week 11 and go over our picks for this week. So, first question is, how does the Drew Brees injury affect the NFC standings? Honestly, usually I would say that this is a huge blow, but I heard today that Brees is only going to miss 2 weeks. So their next two opponents are Atlanta and Carolina. And I think they can beat them even with Winston, so I really don't think it's going to affect the NFC standings all that much at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if Brees was out for the rest of the season and getting ready for the playoffs, then this could be a bigger obstacle on their path. But both the Falcons and the Panthers are winnable games for Jameis Winston to lead the Saints. If you look at what Teddy Bridgewater was able to do for the Saints after not playing football for that long, you can safely assume that the Saints' offense is very quarterback-friendly. You can make an argument that Jameis Winston's a better quarterback at being able to move the ball down the field than what Teddy is, or what he was prior to that. Teddy's been having an outstanding season so far. But I think that they're both very winnable games. If they lose one, it could shake up the NFC South a little bit because Tampa Bay doesn't really have to worry about the Saints until the end of the year to give them another whooping. So Tampa Bay should continue to keep winning games now that they don't have to face their kryptonite. If the Saints can win these next 2 games, the Saints should realistically lock up the NFC South. Next question is, I've got
Still
nothing.
in Shane.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, second one.
Should Kenny Galladay's deal get
Nope,
wrapped?
you missed one.
Team to watch out for. The Raiders. People for some reason are not talking about the Raiders, and it blows my mind because week in and week out, the Raiders are playing really good football. They're the only team to beat the Chiefs. I know it looks like they got blown out by the Bucs, but they really didn't. They shut Cleveland out. Well, they allowed 6 points, but they've been playing really good football. And the Broncos really didn't look like a threat to them. So the Raiders really need to get more...
And they beat the Saints.
Yes, and they beat the Saints. The Raiders really should be getting more media, but they're not. And it's a shame because that team's probably going to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I got the same team. That's why I said damn it when he said it. The Raiders absolutely are a team to watch out for. They have 3 wins over teams with really good records: Cleveland, Kansas City, and New Orleans. And outside of that, they've pretty much taken care of business against all the shitty teams that they play, and that's what good teams do. Josh Jacobs is running really well. Derek Carr looks... this is probably Derek Carr's best season since he broke his leg. Darren Waller's a beast. They got a lot of young people, and you never know which guy's going to step up for them. They have a lot of young receivers, and it's just a different guy every week. So he doesn't blindly just throw to one person, which is always good. And that Raiders defense is kind of underrated. They're not like a lights-out defense by any means, but they're not a defense that you're just going to like march down the field on all the time. And honestly, Abram, he's kind of really a rookie. I know it's his second year, but I heard in his first game of his rookie season, he's a really good safety. And I think he's got a lot of leadership out there, which is crazy from a second-year player. But he really runs that defense. And so I think that, their coaching is good. and I think that they really do have a chance to make a run in the playoffs. They very talented, well coached team. We'll see how it goes down the stretch. So, all right. Should Kenny Galladay deal get done this week? No. I'm going to tell you why the Kenny Galladay deal isn't going to get done once the offseason was over. COVID. Okay, you have no idea what the salary cap's going to be next year. So you can't realistically sign him right now. So, and I hate that all the people push that, and like all the people are doing this for other teams too. And it's just like you can't sign a big name player right now to a big time contract. When, especially if you're a team like the Lions, who are like a middle of the road team and you need more pieces than just a wide receiver. So you need to wait and see what the cap is going to be before you can go ahead and make a deal done. So I don't think it'll get done until the offseason. I do think that they will re-sign him. I don't think they're going to let him walk, and I do think he wants to be here. But he needs to get out on the field because the injury is not helping his...
The lighting is back.
There we go. But being injured doesn't help your payday. If you can't be healthy and stay on the field, it's not going to help you. So his, I guess what you would call it, his momentum or whatever in the deal talks is fading at this point. So he needs to get out on the field. He did practice today though, so that's a good sign.
No, I don't think Kenny Galladay's deal is going to get done this week, nor do I really think it's going to get done in the offseason. I think Kenny Galladay is going to test free agency.
You don't think they'd tag him?
No, because that franchise tag is just a ridiculous number right now. If you take the top 10 for the first year, and then it'd be huge. He'd be getting paid with the likes of like Julio, D-Hop. He'd be getting paid that kind of money, and he is not that kind of wide receiver. He did have a really good season last year, but he has not been able to replicate that this year with his starting quarterback. Kenny Galladay, there's already the talks during the trade deadline that he was going to be shopped. The deal did not happen, but I think a lot of the reason why the deal did not happen is the Lions are really poor trade partners. They always ask for too much. You're not really going to get a second-round pick for a guy that's in a contract year. But I feel like this is a Golden Tate scenario all over again, Darius Slay situation all over again, where he can say that he wants to be there all he wants, but you can see in the way that he plays that he doesn't really want to be there. It doesn't look like he's having fun in Detroit. And I really don't think this hip injury is that big of a concern. I think the reason why they had him out during that first game was because if they were going to get a deal done that day, he couldn't be out there risking getting hurt, because that play that he got hurt on is not a serious injury. Kenny Galladay, I don't think he'll be a Lion next year. Next one.
Griffin.
The Bears' offense was lights out Monday. What can you expect from Trubisky now that Foles is out? Well, you can expect the Bears to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Bears are on a downward spiral, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. This team is probably going to finish 7-9, and that's a very biased projection. The Bears are not good. Their defense is pretty good, but their offense is just horrid. And not very often do you bench a quarterback and then bring him back, and then he wants to play lights out for the team. The morale's already gone. He's got to rebuild that chemistry from missing multiple weeks with his guys. No, I don't really think the Bears are going to win too many more games to finish this year.
Okay, so I don't think Foles will be out. The injury didn't wind up being that serious. They brought out a cart just to be safe because they thought it might have been a hip, and but it turns out that he's fine. He's day to day. He should be all right because they have a bye week this week. So he should be okay to go in 2 weeks. But Nagy already said that he's looking at a quarterback change again. So, I mean, to be fair, the team's actually played better with Trubisky as a quarterback. But that's not saying anything because they were still awful. Their offense was, regardless. But that's how desperate they are. An hour ago, breaking news, if you want to call it that, broke out that the Bears are working out DeShone Kizer. So, if you bench Trubisky and Foles for DeShone Kizer, you know how bad your quarterback situation is.
Yeah.
So, I don't expect anything from the Bears offense. Honestly, if they didn't get the pick off the drop from Thielen in the kickoff return touchdown, the Vikings would have blown them out on Monday night. So literally their defensive special teams is the only reason that game was even, they even scored 13 points. So they're absolutely atrocious. And that Vikings defense isn't all that good, and they still couldn't do anything. So if I was a Bears fan, I'd be banging my head against the wall right now because you already won too many games to get that top-notch pick, and you're not going anywhere. So well, it's just an awful scenario for the Bears at this point. So
Yeah.
What's going on with Russell Wilson was playing at an MVP pace in the first 5 games, 19 touchdowns, 3 picks, 5-0 record. Was really falling off in the last 4, 19, 7 picks, 1-3 record. I don't think there's anything actually wrong with Russell Wilson except for maybe a sore-ass back from trying to carry this team all the time. His offensive line is terrible, and his defense is terrible. He's got some good receivers, but that doesn't bail you out when the offensive line is caving in like a half second after you snap the ball. They really need to, in the offseason, there's nothing they can do about it right now, but in the offseason they really need to invest in some offensive linemen. I would say even before your defense, to help protect Russ, because you're going to get him killed out there. At this point now, they're starting to see some better teams and teams that are running through and taking advantages of their weaknesses right now. And Russ is trying too hard to try to make plays. You've seen him take off against the Rams in a divisional matchup he knew he needed to win, and he had like 15 yards he could have ran and tried to throw it to the corner of the end zone to make a play and got intercepted. That's him just trying too much at this point. And I think the coaches need to sit him down and let him know. I know coaches are going to say, sorry, your team sucks. But they need to sit him down and tell him, hey, don't worry about making the big plays. Just try to focus on getting 10 yards at a time. Like, don't worry about necessarily needing to throw that big play all the time. I think he's gonna be fine. He's a great quarterback. I don't think there's anything actually particularly wrong with him other than just trying to carry the team.
Yeah. Russell Wilson, people forget that he's down his number 1 running back, his number 2 running back, his number 1 and number 2 cornerbacks on that defense, which was already a lackluster defense to begin with. So you're really turning a team that was really dangerous to start the year into a one-dimensional offense and a defense that I could go throw 300 yards on. You can't really expect any quarterback to really thrive in that kind of scenario. It is a shame that those injuries happen because I think Russell Wilson's probably going to end up losing the MVP race because of this, and it's a shame because he was playing lights out football prior to that. But I don't think there's really anything wrong with Russell Wilson. I just think that his team needs to get healthy so he doesn't have to carry him.
Yes.
Hold on. I got a co-host trying to grab my phone right here.
Craig just wants to know, are his Browns still dangerous?
Yes, the Browns are still a dangerous football team. I know they don't really blow the scoreboard up without OBJ. A lot of that could be when they faced the Raiders. The weather conditions were absolutely insane.
Same with this week.
And then this week they had thunderstorms. The wind was bad. But you've really noticed the Browns went from scoring 30 points a game to scoring like 7 points a game. They scored 6 against the Raiders. They put 10 up against a horrendous Texans team. Granted, that Texans game should have been a 17 to, what was it, 3? 17-3?
Nick Chubb cost me fantasy points.
Nick Chubb when he ran out of the 1. I don't really agree with that decision because there was really no way the Texans were going to come back from 2 scores to that late in the game. But, you know, he wanted to guarantee put the team over stats. Looking at you, Todd Gurley. And so, yeah, I probably would have won my fantasy league too if it wasn't for Chubb. But they're still dangerous. I think they are missing the OBJ factor, though. You can tell that the passing game is not as dangerous. They're having to rely on giving Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both 20 carries a game, and that's not very sustainable in the NFL. Is Baker on thin? No, I don't think Baker is on thin ice. When you lose your number 1 wide receiver, you get a little bit of slack. I don't think that he's really in danger. He was the first overall pick, 2 years ago. It's
he's not even playing bad. They're just not throwing a lot right now.
Yeah, they're just turning into a run first team for sure.
Yeah, the Browns are still dangerous. I don't know where this question comes from. They just won. It was weird. That's the kind of question that would come after a loss. Yeah, they just won. I wouldn't put any stock in the score and how close that game was because, Craig, I'm sure you watched the game. The weather there was atrocious. They couldn't even start the game on time. So they literally would just hand the ball up the middle, both teams all day. I think Deshaun Watson had 88 passing yards last time I looked at the stats with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So, if Deshaun Watson only has, I think I said Deshaun Jackson, but Deshaun Watson only has 88 passing yards in the fourth. That the weather is just awful. So I wouldn't put any stock in the fact that game was close. I really don't think it would have been close if the weather was nice. But there's just some things you can't do when the winds are gusting 35 miles an hour and there's rain's whipping everywhere. And, so just you get those games sometimes. Unfortunately, Cleveland's had them like their last 2 games, unfortunately. So parts of playing in the Midwest, I guess.
Craig, if you're going to ask 10 questions, try to put them in 10 separate questions so we don't have to decipher what...
Yeah, we have to go through the entire... Yeah.
Did I see OBJ's last game in Cleveland? I believe so. I think...
You missed one. It's okay. Go with that one. We'll back up.
I think OBJ is going to be traded next year. This isn't a contract year for him. But I think what you're going to start seeing with OBJ is more of a mercenary wide receiver. He's going to keep going to getting traded to teams that are right on that Super Bowl cusp, and they're just one playmaker away. And I think the reason behind that is because there's this false narrative that OBJ is just the ultimate locker room cancer. And
it's a false narrative.
Yeah, it's a terrible narrative because the guy all he wants to do is win. But that's why you saw him leave New York, because everyone said, oh, he's a cancer in the locker room. He's an off-the-field distraction, so they send him to Cleveland. He's relatively kept his mouth shut, minus legally paying NCAA players money and for playing good in the playoffs.
He was just trying to have fun. I don't think he meant anything negative by it.
That's the only thing that he's done.
He's a little immature, that's it.
But I do think just because of who he is, he has played his last game in Cleveland. I don't know really where he'll go next, but it'll probably be whoever.
Could go to Philly.
I would like that, but he'd have to wear a different number because there's no way.
Oh no, he would get it. He would get it.
There's no way Traviar is changing his number.
Tell people who Traviar is. Nobody's gonna know who the hell that is.
Travis Fulgham, the best.
No R, no R there at all.
Yeah, well, he's shaking the R off because now he's a star. The best wide receiver in the NFL. So look for OBJ to wear number 89 or something.
OBJ will be 13 his whole career. Yeah, I think OBJ is going to be gone. I don't have much more to say other than what Brent said. Yeah, that doesn't mean it's because he bounces from team to team doesn't mean he's not good. T.O. bounced from team to team, except his narrative was true. He really was a cancer.
Yeah.
But but players that are that talented, especially wide receivers, bounce from team to team. It just happens. Unless you're a really quiet receiver like Fitz, who gets to stay with one team. Even Randy Moss bounced from team to team.
He's on 5 teams.
Yeah, Randy Moss is on 6 teams, if you want to count Tennessee. He didn't actually play for Tennessee, but he was on the roster for 8 games or so. But yeah, so that just happens. I think Brent's pretty spot on with that. I think unless they find a team where he just matures really quickly and keeps his name completely out of the news, and some teams we gotta lock him down now because he's matured, then I think that's kind of will be the case for him. Next question, the question will back up. Is Chubb in danger of losing his starting role? Craig, I want to know how much you were drinking before you asked this question. No, I don't even know why I have to answer this question. He just ran for 130 yards, at a touchdown. I don't know. And the running offense clearly wasn't as good when he was gone. Not a knock on Hunt, but it wasn't the same.
Right.
Okay, so he's not Nick Chubb. Alex, looking at you, Mr. Chubb's overrated. Yeah, he's not. No, there's no chance in hell he'll ever lose that job until he starts to, his production starts to fade with old age.
Notice how Kareem Hunt's first good game since Nick Chubb got hurt came after Nick Chubb came back, and he wasn't the spot-on guy in the backfield anymore.
104 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't see Kareem Hunt running for 100-yard games while Chubb was gone. It didn't happen. Chubb is not going to lose his job. He's a top 5 running back in the NFL. He's phenomenal. There's no way he's losing his job to Kareem Hunt. So I guess the next question from Craig would be, is Stefanski the real GOAT? Craig, I'm about to block you. What are these questions? No, he's not. He's had some really good success in Cleveland, yes. But, what?
The GOAT? Bill Belichick's still here. Vince Lombardi. John Gruden even, who's still active. Come on now. Get out of here.
I can probably think of 15 coaches in the NFL that I would rather have over Stefanski. That's not a knock on Stefanski.
I would take Zimmer right now, and he doesn't even want a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Stefanski's doing good. I'll give him credit, but no, he's not the GOAT.
I don't even know what kind of...
It's an aftershock he's been drinking.
Is the D-Hop catch really that historic? I tell you, to answer this question, it's going to depend on what happens with the Cardinals in the future. Like, if the Cardinals win the division because of that catch, like, say they win because they win by 1 game or something in the division, and then they win the Super Bowl because they had home games because of it, yes, that catch will be historic. If not, it'll be talked about, but it wouldn't be historic. It'll definitely still be talked about. Like, a few years down the line, it'll be like, remember that Hail Mary from Kyler Murray to D-Hop? Yeah, but that doesn't make it historic. I think it was a really good catch. D-Hop, that was crazy. He jumped over 3 guys and caught the ball, and those are 3 pretty good players that were up there defending it. But we need to not slam historic on everything. If it was a playoff game, 100% historic. But it really depends on what happens with the Cardinals from here.
Right. I agree with Coop. It really has to depend on what the Cardinals do with the rest of the season. If you think back, people talk about Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary against Detroit, but they don't bring it up as one of the greatest catches of all time, and that was an amazing play. They don't talk about Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary against the Cardinals.
And that was in the playoffs.
That was in the playoffs.
But they still lost, too, so I
guess that's the thing. Neither team went on to go win the Super Bowl, and that game didn't relatively have an effect on them winning the big game. So it was a phenomenal catch by D-Hop, don't get me wrong. I did not see it coming, and I was in shock because he caught it over Tre'Davious White of all people.
Yeah, Tim, I agree, yeah. This is the 3 best defensive backs for sure.
Yeah. It was insane, and there was 3 guys on him, and he still pulled it in. It was a phenomenal catch, but I'd wait to put the label historic on it if the Cardinals...
If the Cardinals win a Super Bowl, it'll wind up being historic.
Yeah.
Especially if that was the one that gave
If that was the one that got him in the winning the division, hosting a playoff game, yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Let's see, is there another one in here?
Is it really Tua time?
Is it really Tua time, or is he going to fall? Tua time is real! Alright. I wasn't in love with Tua when the season first started. Having a hip injury like that, it's really risky. It's a really risky pick. But Tua's 3-0 since taking over the Dolphins. I even earlier in this podcast I criticized Tua and the pick because I thought Ryan Fitzmagic was doing a pretty good job for the Dolphins. I didn't think it was the right time to make a quarterback change, but Tua is making me eat crow because he's doing a really good job. He's not going out there and pulling Herberts where he's throwing for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he's doing enough to win the game.
Well, he's winning more than Herbert.
Yeah, he's... That's very true. That's why Herbert got his haircut.
We'll get it, Tim. I see it. It told me.
So, I think Tua time is real. I'd like to see what happens as the season goes on and teams really know how he is playing for the Dolphins and how to stop him. I'd like to see once a little bit more tape's been put out for him. But yeah, I have to believe Tua time is real.
Yeah, I'm not going to fully eat crow because I still think the decision at that moment was not the right decision to bench Ryan Fitzpatrick. But I will say, where I will eat crow is when I said that I didn't think Tua was going to be that good. As of now, through 3 games, he's been really good. I cannot take that away from him. Although 3 games is way too early to say that he is good. So we'll wait to continue to go forward. But as of right now, he has been absolutely lights out. He's played phenomenally. If you take away the first game, they were very conservative with him. But the last 2 games, he's been great. and he's 3-0. Can't take that away from him. And the Dolphins are winning games. Okay, this is a Dolphins team that shouldn't be winning games. If you look at the roster in the beginning of the season, nobody had them winning 6 games total really, and they're 6-3, and they won 5 games in a row, so they're hot. So it would be really hard to pick against Miami right now in a pick 'em against anybody. I think if they were playing a good team, I would avoid them on a parlay or anything like that at this point. But yeah, it's too early to say if Tua time is real but I mean, all signs point to yes at this point. So that's what I'll stick with. Is right now, yeah. So
it's cool seeing a lefty out there.
It is. It hasn't had 2015 was the last time a left-handed quarterback started a game.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore. And now he's the offensive coordinator for Dallas now?
Yeah.
Is Lamar Miller back for good? No. I'm just going to skip that question. No. How about that Josh Allen TD catch on the fake end around? Okay, so this is not Josh Allen's first touchdown catch.
No.
He had one in the postseason last year, and it was phenomenal. Josh Allen's a good athlete. People got to understand that, right? He's not just a quarterback. The dude's an athlete. He can run. He can catch. Honestly, it was a really good catch. He caught that with his fingertips. Yeah. The ball was a little overthrown. He can run. He can catch. He can make moves. He can juke you. And it's weird because he doesn't look like it. Like, you look at the guy, you're like, what a nerd. But he can do that kind of stuff. I'm not shocked by it. It was cool. It was a cool play to watch. I didn't see it coming. He threw it back. I was like, oh, shit. It was a great play. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Is people need to put a little more respect on Josh Allen's athletic ability.
Yeah. As a football fan, I thought it was really awesome. I like seeing those little gadget plays where a quarterback ends up making a play in a non-traditional position. As a fantasy owner, I hated it because I faced Josh Allen and he got 6 points instead of 4 for that. So that sucked. But people really, they think that Josh Allen is kind of like one of those quarterbacks that can run when he needs to, and he's just a big, goofy, Eli Manning-looking guy. But he's a really athletic quarterback. I've seen him truck guys on the goal line.
He jumped over Anthony Barr 2 years ago. You remember that?
His rookie year, he was hurdling like crazy, and then his coach probably was like, "Stop.
Yeah, you're gonna hurt yourself. Don't do that.
Stop doing that." I haven't seen him hurdle since, but Josh Allen's a really good quarterback, and athlete as well. He's good. He's climbing the ropes for the MVP race.
Yeah, that's for sure. Even in a loss, because he really shouldn't have lost. He should have threw the game-winning touchdown pass, but.
Hold on, I lost the questions again. Is Drew Lock on the hot seat? No. The dude has lost everything. Cortland Sutton, really good wide receiver, out. He's had both of his running backs missed time this season.
Font's missed time.
Noah's missed time. Tim Patrick's missed time. Jerry Jeudy's finally breaking out, but it took him a little while too. And KJ Hamler really was I think he missed quite a bit of time, or he just was a non-factor. I didn't really hear his name until they beat the Chargers. But no, Drew Lock is a good quarterback, and I don't understand why there would be any kind of heat coming towards him, especially in his second year where he's lost. At one point, the Broncos had the highest cap salary on the injured reserve.
They're still third.
Yeah, it's not like they've gotten healthy and he's doing bad. So, no, he's not on the hot seat.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so either. I see a lot of people hating on the guy, especially because he likes to dance and stuff like, man, God forbid the guy has fun.
Right. What happened to liking the game?
You want people to be ornery and pissy and throwing temper tantrums all the time, or what? Let the guy dance, let him have fun. I think he's a really good quarterback. He's struggling a little bit. Part of that is his receivers are constantly going in and out of the games, hurt, all this type of stuff. It's hard to build chemistry with these guys when they're continuously cycling in and out. And he's got all these injuries. Half his starting team is not on the field. If he still plays like this next year, then I'll say, hey, maybe he should be on the hot seat.
Yeah.
But I would say that in a year like this, I would definitely not put him on the hot seat yet. No, absolutely not. I think Drew Lock has got absolute star power potential.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. Should I keep going?
No.
Just kidding, Craig. Just ask him one by one next time.
Is it Tua or that Miami's defense winning games, We kind of touched on that, but I do want to say it is both. That Miami's defense has been absolutely studly, and so is that special teams. That special teams has set up 2 touchdowns in 2 games, and the defense has given touchdowns in 2 games since Tua has taken over. So it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I'd agree. The defense has been playing a lot better since Tua took over. But a big player that has been helping Tua succeed is that wide receiver, punt returner, and kick returner, Jakeem Grant. I was watching that Dolphins-Chargers game, and it seemed like the Dolphins had the ball on their own 35 or 40-yard line every time that there was a punt or if there was a kickoff. That guy is very elusive. He's very fast. He's a little squirrely guy. He gives Tua a better chance to win, because if you win the field position battle, you're probably going to win the football game. And it's not a knock on Tua, because Tua's been playing really good. But that defense has really stepped up, and that special teams has really stepped up. So I would say all 3 phases of the game have been playing better since Tua took over.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's all for you, the Jeff one.
Tell the audience after Kirk Cousins snapped his Monday Night Football woes why Kirk Vember is officially real. Hey, it was officially real 2 weeks ago. I just want to say that now. But I actually had people DM me and tag me in posts after Monday night talking about they believe in Kirk Vember now. It's spreading everywhere except for Vikings fans. Everyone else is buying the hype, okay? There was like a little group Vikings fans that started Kirktober. It wound up being like a flop. And then they started Kirk Vember to be funny because Kirktober was a flop. And it caught on, and Kirk Cousins is 3-0. And he's played lights out football. He's only 1 turnover, and that was because Adam Thielen dropped it. That wasn't even on Cousins. It was right in the chest of Thielen. I mean, I told Brent last week, I said, he's got a curse, and then you got Kirk Vember, and they're going head-to-head. If he wins, there's no doubt about Kirk Vember at this point. It is legit. He won on Monday night against and played good against one of the best defenses in the league. 292 yards, 2 TDs in that game, and I think he completed 14 of his first 15 passes. He was just lights out. I mean, until someone beats him, you can't deny it right now. And looking at his schedule, probably ain't gonna happen. So,
what's even more important than him being 3-0 is he's 3-0 now in the division in the month of November. Those divisional games are key to winning. I mean, I don't really think the Vikings are going to win the division, but it's really going to help them eliminate the Bears from playoff contention, eliminate the Lions from playoff contention, and the Vikings are very reasonably going to sneak in at that 7th seed. So, what can we expect from Jameis and Sean Payton's offense? Jameis played really good football in relief of Drew Brees. He wasn't going to be the guy that is going to be the one to put the team on your back like he felt like he had to be in Tampa Bay. That's where a lot of his mistakes and interceptions were coming from, was there was all this pressure that you have all these weapons in Tampa. You have no reason not to produce. So he was forcing it out. Oh, Mike Evans.
And he was a high pick, so.
Yeah, Mike Evans got to be out there somewhere.
Yeah, those memes were funny.
he doesn't need to do that in this offense. There are plenty of playmakers on that team that are going to kind of take the load off. Alvin Kamara is playing amazing football as an overall player, not just a running back. Slant boy.
He's going to hate it. He's going to have to run deeper routes.
And then you have Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, Latavius Murray to take some heat off. And you got that gadget player, Taysom Hill. He can take some snaps too. I think Jameis is going to do the job to just get the Saints through this time. And then Drew Brees is going to come back, and they're not going to miss a beat.
Yeah, what you're going to see out of Jameis Winston is a lot of Taysom Hill. That's what you're going to see. They're going to have Taysom. I should say they're going to have Taysom Hill in there a lot more than they did when Brees was there. Taysom Hill won't be the quarterback, obviously, but they'll do a lot more gadget plays with Hill now that Winston's in there. But I don't think they're really afraid to let Winston throw the ball. I think they have a faith in him, whether that's a mistake or not. I think they do. And the competition level for him for the next 2 weeks, they're not going to be super high. So I don't think even if they decide to go conservative, who cares? You're going to win anyway. But yeah, I think Jameis would be fine. I think he's a solid backup quarterback. Sean Payton isn't announcing a starter at quarterback.
We know
It's going to
who
be
it is.
Winston. He doesn't have to announce a starter.
Who else would it be? Tim?
There's a reason Winston came in relief of Breeze last week, not Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill's not a quarterback.
If you play Taysom Hill at quarterback, you take away his athletic ability as a gadget player. That's what makes him special. There's no way he'll start at quarterback. None.
If Taysom Hill starts at quarterback, then the Saints lose this football game. That's my bold pick.
Oh, Atlanta?
Yeah.
They won't lose to Carolina, I don't think. But
Atlanta will beat them if Taysom Hill's the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Jameis Winston, he's gonna start. I know they didn't make it, but that's who it's gonna be. He just ate a W 2 weeks ago. He's ready to go. So, all right. Thoughts on the David Bakhtiari contract extension and what this could mean for the Packer free agents such as Aaron Jones, Kevin King, and Corey Linsley. What it means is that they're gonna move on from all those guys. Kevin King's the only one that I actually see them re-signing. They drafted A.J. Dillon for a reason. Aaron Jones has been hurt. They didn't really miss a beat with Aaron Jones gone, and since he came back, he hasn't really produced. So I don't think that they honestly ever had it in their mind to re-sign Aaron Jones. You know how the Packers front office is, Jeff. They don't give a damn about putting anybody around Aaron Rodgers. They're just like, oh, the next decent player will do. And I think that's exactly how they view this entire situation. Good for David Bakhtiari getting the contract extension. He deserved it. But to me, that just spells out they don't care about the rest of them. So,
yeah. When it comes down to Bakhtiari and the rest of the guys, I think the next one that's going to be facing a payday is Linsley. If they're not going to give Aaron Rodgers talent on the outside or behind him, but they damn well do a good job at protecting him up front. So he's going to get paid. I don't think Aaron Jones is going to stay on the Packers. He's in the past year and a half, he's put up really good numbers, which means he's going to want to get paid. But the Packers have shown that they have Jamal Williams that can possibly sign a team-friendly deal. His contract expires too at the same time as Aaron Jones's, so he might sign a team-friendly deal. But they did draft A.J. Dillon in the second round for a reason. They didn't anticipate Aaron Jones staying with the team. So you're going to get 3 more years on a rookie deal with a guy that's got legs that make Saquon's look small. And then when it comes to Kevin King, he's missed too much time. I think that he's kind of signed his own death certificate with the Packers with that. He's missed 5 games now this season.
Sheldon!
You can't pay a cornerback that's not going to play. So I think that the offensive line will get shored up, but Aaron Jones is probably going to test free agency. I would be curious to see where he goes. Because he's going to be losing more of the winning seasons, because when you think of teams that have really good records and are continuous postseason contenders, they usually have the running back position pretty squared away. So it's going to depend on if he's going to go sign for the money. He could go to Arizona. That'd be deadly. That would be dangerous. But it'd be interesting to see where he goes. Kevin King, I don't know where he's going to end up. But he'll find a home.
He'll find somewhere.
Yeah. Is OBJ's absence in a way addition by subtraction for Cleveland's offense? Do you think Cleveland can be more effective as a ground and pound team with Chubb and Hunt as opposed to a balanced offense? No. So there's a problem with a ground and pound team, and when you have a ground and pound team, it's very easy for the defense to just start stacking the box and just trying to prevent you to run because they're not afraid of the pass. I don't think the Browns are excited, or even Cleveland fans are excited that OBJ is gone, because we've seen how that offense has just dwindled ever since he's been gone. I know a lot of that has to do with the weather, but when you see a team that's scoring 30 points a game and now they're lucky to score 13, you can definitely see that his presence is missing on that field. And I don't know anyone that wouldn't want OBJ on their team, because that guy is just a phenomenal teammate and player.
Yeah. In no way is it addition by subtraction, because you've seen even though OBJ's numbers weren't like like they were when he was in New York. He took double teams all the time. There was always a safety and a corner on him at all times. Okay, that left Jarvis Landry single covered. That left Hooper and Njoku single covered. That left Higgins single covered. Like just running all over the field.
And to let the running game just thrive.
And the running game thrive because they couldn't play up, because if you played up, then OBJ was going to burn you over the top.
Yep.
So you never want to lose a guy like that. Whether his numbers were great or not, he provided a lot on that field. And the problem with the ground and pound team is when they get to the playoffs, they meet offenses that score a lot of points, and then they have to score a lot of points. And ground and pound teams don't score a lot of points.
The Browns don't have the defense to be a ground and pound team.
They don't. If you're going to be a ground and pound team, you need an Indianapolis, Chicago defense.
Yep. Baltimore defense would do it too.
Yeah. A defense that can shut you down and hold you to 17 points, so you can score 20 points and win the game. That's the type of defense you want. I'm not saying Cleveland can't make a run in the playoffs if they get there, but I'm telling you that why they won't go to a ground and pound completely. They're going to do it when it's working, but they have the ability to throw the ball if they need to. They have full trust in Baker, and I actually think that Baker is the only one that benefits from OBJ being out, because I think he doesn't feel the pressure to need to get him the ball.
Yeah.
Everybody else is upset he's gone. Baker will feel more comfortable. So in playoff time, if he makes it there, because the AFC is tight, so there's no guarantee he'll make it there. Either way, this season was a success for Cleveland. I want to put that out there right now. If they go 10-6 and miss the playoffs, they had a good season. So just keep their head high. But Baker will be able to be more comfortable throwing the ball down there. He's not zoning in on one guy. He's like, I'm going to find the open guy and throw the ball. I think that could help. But that's the only person that gets the addition by subtraction for Cleveland. Everybody else is going to be hurt by it. Thoughts on this meme?
Okay, so the meme is 3 dragons. You got a mean one, a sarcastic one, and just one that licks windows. And you got Stafford as the angry one, Prater as like maybe irritated one, and then Matt Patricia as just the dummy. There's the picture. So I think it's funny because Patricia really is what's holding this team back, and he can try to take credit for this all he wants, but he deserves the credit for all the mistakes, but none of the success that the Lions are having. The Lions have to do so much to overcome what Matt Patricia's done to that franchise that the players literally have to do twice the work to get half the success. Patricia's got to freaking go, dude.
Yeah, he does. The Lions are only 4-5 because they have quite a bit of talent on that team that's been good enough on their own to win a few games. Patricia's lost them games single-handedly this season from his coaching mistakes and coaching decisions. I think the meme fits perfectly. You got a good quarterback and a kicker that continues to try to win you games, and then you have this idiot coach that continues to put you in positions to lose games.
It was nice to see Prater, not mess it up.
Yeah, he was having a down year, but that's the type of kick that turns your year around. So you nail a 59-yard game winner, now you're confident again. Go. Kickers go through that once in a while. I heard people, Lions fans, like, it's time to move on from Prater. Okay, so in 2013 or 14, I can't remember which one, Mason Crosby had the worst year he ever hit. He had 59% field goal for the year, and he's still kicking for the Packers now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go through that and you have a year. I wouldn't get rid of Prater even if he continued with his kicking woes this year. Unless he continues it again next year, you don't get rid of him.
Right.
Tim's just added a question, so...
All right. With the Texans playing like dog shit and heading towards a rebuild, how long is Watson going to stay there since he already had a taste of success? Watson just signed a contract with the Texans. He's stuck there. If the only way out is early retirement.
That's way early.
Yeah, that's literally the only way out. So, yes, the Texans are going to have to do a rebuild, but there's 3 guys on that team that they have to build around. That's Deshaun Watson, Laramie Tunsil, and Will Fuller. Everyone else should be considered expendable at this point. Trade them all in the offseason, try to get some draft stock, and just build a young Houston Texans team. We're not going to see that team be successful next year, but the year after that, maybe it's going to start turning into a dangerous team again. But Bill O'Brien did a lot to kill that franchise, and it's going to take more than an offseason to fix it. And especially with the way that he just threw their capital away like it was nothing.
Oh, you got donuts? You want DeAndre Hopkins?
Here you go. No. So Watson's not going anywhere. Will Fuller's not going anywhere. Laramie Tunsil's not going anywhere. Look for anyone else to be shipped off, though. It's going to be a rebuild. They're going to be one of the worst teams next year. But you're going to get a really good piece for your team through the draft from that. So
I got nothing to add to that. I absolutely agree with everything you said. But hey, we got something to celebrate here on Talk is Cheap. Today was the first episode with 0 Jets questions. Okay?
You guys know they suck!
Thank you. You finally got it through your head. We don't need to answer any questions about the New York Jets. Okay, so we'll start out on our picks now. You go ahead and kick off Thursday night.
All right, so you have the Cardinals traveling to Seattle, which is going to be a really good game. This could very well be game of the week. For me, it's going to be Seattle that's going to have to take it. They've had all this pressure. They've lost 2 divisional games. They've lost 2 out of their last 3. They really need to put... Actually, 3 out of their last 4 they've lost. So they're really struggling. Their 2 starting cornerbacks are out. Running back 1, Chris Carson. Running back 2, Carlos Hyde's still out. But Lockett might play. He's a game-time decision. If Lockett plays, that team hopefully wins. Lockett really knows how to get underneath the Cardinals' defense. Look at the last time they played. He had 3 touchdowns, 200 yards, and 12 catches. I have the Seahawks winning this game in a desperation move. They have to do something, otherwise they're gonna lose the division. Then they're gonna be playing on the road all the way through the playoffs if they make it past week 1. So I have the Seahawks winning this one in a nail biter.
Yeah. I actually have the same pick. I picked Seattle too. I know Arizona beat them once before, but you know how it's going to be really hard to beat Seattle twice in one season, especially when they're quarterbacked by a guy named Russell Wilson. And I know he struggled, but eventually that struggle is going to stop. He's too good to continue to go through that struggle. And I think he's going to end it here. I think he's going to have a really good game against Arizona. He knows what mistakes not to make against this defense like he did last time. So I think that he's going to have one of those normal Russell Wilson from the first few weeks type games. Not that I don't think the game's going to be close, because I think that Cardinals offense is really damn good.
Yes.
Kyler Murray is going to keep that team in the game. He's not like a throw a million touchdowns type of quarterback, but he's I'm going to make plays and get the ball right down the field type quarterback, and that's just as good, to be honest with you, on the object to get down the field, right? So he had a great comeback last time he was in Seattle. They were down 10 with like 3 minutes to go, and he took the game to overtime, and then they won in overtime. I would expect a same dogfight type game here, but just with it swinging the other way this time. Honestly, it's a coin flip type game, but I took Seattle just because it's too hard to beat Seattle twice in one season. So I'm going to take Seattle here to split the series. Next game, we get Cincinnati at Washington. This game was kind of difficult to pick. 1, because Alex Smith played really well last week finally. And 2, because the Bengals look really good 1 week offensively, and the next week you're like, what the hell are you doing? So you just don't know what Cincinnati team you're going to have show up. So that makes a problem here. Now, I am going to pick the Bengals and assume that the better of the 2 Bengals teams is going to show up for this game. But it won't be easy. That Washington defensive front's really good. Alex Smith's starting to click. McKissick is playing some really good football for Washington. Obviously, McLaurin always shows up. So it'll be a dogfight here, but I just think that Joe Burrow's going to click with the offense this week, and I think he'll pick apart that secondary of Washington. So I have Cincinnati in a close one on the road.
Yeah, the Washington football team has a really good defensive front, but after you get past that defensive front, there's really nothing back there. I know you have Landon Collins, but Landon Collins, I don't even know, is he even still playing right now? Because I don't hear his name out on the
I don't even know. He's got to be like 50 years old.
He's like 26.
What am I thinking of? Oh, I was thinking of London Fletcher used to play there. That's what I saw. I got it confused, dude.
No, but there's really nothing behind that defensive line. So with the way that Boyd and Higgins have really clicked with Burrow, I think Burrow's going to be just short passing, and then they're going to get that rack. I have the Bengals winning this one, probably by a touchdown. but it could be one of those right down to the wire games because Alex Smith he doesn't look like a guy that is 2 years removed from almost losing his leg.
I was dying.
Yeah. So he played really good against the Lions. I think a lot of that though had to do with the Lions just creating one of those bend but don't break, let him have the yards and take the time off the clock defenses, which almost didn't work. When you give up that kind of lead, it's not a great look. But I think a lot of that was just kind of, we're not going to let Alex Smith beat us over the top. We're going to let him just nickel and dime his way up. And he was able to do it, unfortunately. For Washington fans, they weren't able to get it done. But I have Cincinnati beating Washington, and Joe Burrow getting his third win.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we have Atlanta going to New Orleans. We're
gonna pick this assuming Winston starts.
Yes, we're assuming that Winston's starting this game. I know that apparently a quarterback hasn't been announced, but come on.
ESPN analyst Tim Smith comes in with.
It's going to be Winston, and I think that this is going to be a Teddy Bridgewater situation like last year, where the game's not going to be a crazy, typical New Orleans offense game, but they're going to do enough to win that football game. I would not be surprised with how well the Falcons have played under Raheem Morris that they could sneak it out, but I just don't really feel confident betting on the Falcons to take it. So I have the Saints.
Yeah, I got the Saints too. I think even with Winston there and without Drew Brees, I think that they're a good enough team to beat the Falcons. The Falcons have played really well under Morris. I would expect a close game. These two teams usually light up the scoreboard. So I wouldn't even say that they don't score a lot of points like New Orleans normally does, because if Atlanta scores, they're going to have to keep up. But Jameis Winston can get the ball down the field really quickly if he doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Good thing is Atlanta's defense isn't very good, so he doesn't have to worry about too many turnovers in this game. But I just think there's too much talent there. Kamara's playing out of his mind, not necessarily as a runner, but as an athlete. He's playing out of his mind this season. And Michael Thomas being back has definitely helped the offense. Jared Cook has kind of disappeared for a little bit. I would look for this to be a game for him to reestablish himself in the offense. He'd be a lot of quarterbacks who come in that aren't very comfortable, haven't played for a while, target their tight ends as safety blankets in these type of games. So expect Cook to get involved in this game early. So I have New Orleans in a game that's probably a lot closer than what it should be if Drew Brees was there. But I just can't see him losing it. So I'm going to take the Saints here still. Then we get Pittsburgh at Jacksonville. I don't have a lot to say about this game. This should be a blowout. But I do want to point out, and I pointed this out two weeks ago, Mike Tomlin coached the Steelers team, and it's not a knock on Tomlin because he's a phenomenal coach. I've backed Tomlin up so many times on this. But they struggle when they have giant spreads. Okay, so I say this should be a blowout, but I would not be shocked if it's close. But either way, Pittsburgh's going to win this game. They're just too good. They're too good to lose to Jacksonville. Whether they hang around or not, it's not going to happen. So, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I would like to say that the Steelers are just going to absolutely rout the Jaguars, but I said that last week about the Packers, and I was wrong about that. That game was ended up being a 3-point game. 4 point, yeah, 24-20. So I have no doubt in my mind that the Steelers are going to win this football game, but it might be closer than what we think. Luden's playing really good. I think that job should probably be his over Minshew's when Minshew's ready to come back.
How's he not ready by now?
I think they're just saying that he's not. Because Luden has turned the Jaguars into a competitive football team. And I thought with maybe a game of tape that the Packers were just going to exploit him. And he did not play bad. So this game could be an interesting one to watch, but the Steelers really shouldn't have to worry about the outcome of the game. New England travels to Houston. This is just an ugly game.
I want to watch this.
Yeah. So the Patriots actually they shocked me when they beat Baltimore last week, but Bill Belichick's kind of good at sneaking those games in where he puts a team that's not nearly as talented and goes out and puts on a show.
This team's still not very good.
Yeah, this is a year for the Patriots to kind of get back under the salary cap, and they're just biting the bullet. The Hornets.
Michael Jordan said they were going to pick him. I already knew that.
So, I think that the Patriots are the better team between two dumpster fires. So, maybe Cam gets his 4th touchdown pass this week. It's week 11. So, I have the Patriots winning just because how bad Houston is.
Before I make my pick, I don't ever want to hear anybody talk about Cam Newton being a good quarterback anymore. Ever. Okay? You can't go 11 weeks. I don't care if you missed one for COVID. You can't go 11 weeks and only have 3 touchdown passes in the NFL. And then still establish yourself. The fact he has only not been benched because of name only. Jarrett Stidham honestly should be really pissed sitting on the sideline, to be honest with you. But it's going to be a sloppy game. It's not going to be a fun game to watch if you're a football fan. It will be ugly. It'll be really low scoring. And it'll be a Patriots just barely beating Houston to go to the worst 500 team in the NFL.
14-9 is what the final score of this game is going to be.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, if you're betting over unders, take the under.
Yeah.
I'd slam a lot of money on the under here. I don't tell people to take the under too often in today's NFL. This is one of them. You just want to take the under.
Watch this game just be an absolute shootout.
The problem with that is that sometimes these games end up being like that, right?
Because both teams
suck, and so they just wind up not stop anybody, right? The history of these two teams would tell you to take the under, but that's just scary. But all right, Philly at Cleveland. Sorry, Brent, but your team hasn't looked very good, man. I can't take them in this match. I can't. Cleveland, they run the ball too well, and they're going to put up probably another 200-some yards of offense in this game, rushing the football and then open up the pass. Cleveland's they've been playing good ball with the exception of the game against the Raiders a couple weeks ago. Again, I think a lot of that was weather permitting, and I mean the Raiders are a good team, so losing to the Raiders not really something to hang your head about, but. Cleveland looks like they're heading in the right direction, and Philly's still trying to figure out what to do. They are getting healthier, and they're still leading the division regardless of losing games because the division is awful. So either way, as long as Philly can just hang in there at the top of the NFC East and be healthy by the time the playoffs come around, who knows? They could shock somebody in the playoffs, but I just can't see them beating Cleveland here. So not in Cleveland.
Yeah, so we're going to have our first opposite pick today.
Shocker.
You can call me biased all you want, but I have some legitimate points why I think the Eagles are going to win this football game. Per Pro Football Focus, which is not, in my opinion, not a great metric, the Eagles are the number 3 run defense in the league when not dealing with a misdirection run. Misdirection run means quarterback runs.
That is a PFF stat.
Yeah. But if it's not like an end around or a quarterback crazy misdirection play, the Eagles have the number 3 rush defense in the NFL. The Browns without OBJ are not a misdirection team. They don't have another guy to kind of spice that up. They have Landry, but Landry's got a hip injury. So you're going to see a lot of Chubb up the middle, Kareem Hunt bouncing on the outside. That's really what the Eagles do really good at preventing on defense. And if you take away Chubb, or I won't say take away, if you limit Chubb and Hunt...
You're not going to fully take them away.
No, you're not. But if you limit them, you have a legitimate chance to win that football game. And considering the Browns' defense is only good at stopping the run, their pass defense is horrible. You have Travis Fulgham, best wide receiver in football. Zach Ertz is back. He's just waiting to get clear. He got removed off the IR. He's ready to practice. He was practicing today. You have a lot of weapons there, and Miles Sanders works really good as a wide receiver out of the backfield. So the Eagles got embarrassed on Sunday by the Giants. They weren't in that game almost the entire game. But it was more of the Eagles beating themselves over the Giants beating the Eagles. I think the Eagles right the ship, and they upset the Browns. Eagles win this one 24-20. So the Lions are traveling to Carolina, and this game, this game's gonna be ugly.
Fuck the Packers.
Fuck the Packers. So Matthew Stafford's got it's a
Torn ligament.
in his thumb. All reports indicate he's going to try to play through the injury.
He didn't practice today, but I think they said he's going to go anyway.
Right. They're going to lean towards it, and if he can't play, I would rather have Chase Daniel start at quarterback over P.J. Walker. P.J. Walker was an XFL phenomenon. Like, it was amazing. But there's a difference.
P.J. Walker?
Yes. Isn't that his name?
P.J. Walker plays for fucking Carolina.
Yes, that's who the Lions are facing.
Yeah, but you were talking about... Oh, okay. Never mind. I got confused by what you said. See, I thought you were talking about whether the Lions should start Chase Daniel or P.J. Walker. I get
okay,
you now.
Teddy Bridgewater's not playing in this football game. I should have announced that.
Yeah, my bad. That's where I got confused because I was like, wait a second.
So, your worst case scenario for the Lions, you have Chase Daniel versus P.J. Walker. P.J. Walker was a phenomenal XFL quarterback, but there's a reason why the XFL and the NFL are not the same talent level. P.J. Walker did not look good against the Falcons when he played. Granted, that was his first NFL snaps, and he was just gunning it. He was not playing conservative.
He's all like, fuck this, I'm throwing 50 yards.
Yeah. Sheldon, drop that. Sorry, he has my glove. But I think the Lions are looking better. Christian McCaffrey's not playing. There's a chance Mike Daniels won't play. That's not Mike Daniels.
Davis?
Mike Davis, yeah, sorry. There's a chance he might not play. The Lions are just overall a healthier team going to this matchup. So
Kenny Galladay practiced too today.
Yes, so I gotta give the edge to the Lions.
If it was
and it's an away game, and the Lions can't win at home, except for this last week. But they have been winning their games away. So
if it's Chase Daniel versus P.J. Walker, I'm taking the Cardinals or the Carolina.
I'm taking the Cardinals.
That's how bad this game would be. I'm taking the Cardinals and not even playing. Right? But I would take Carolina in this game because I think P.J. Walker's the future go to the NFL. To be honest with you, you wait till he gets his opportunity.
Trace McSorley.
That dude, no, screw that. That was just a little face thing. But like, P.J. Walker's the man. Okay, I'm telling you right now, that wasn't just an XFL fluke. But no, Stafford's gonna play in this game, and Stafford is gonna beat a P.J. Walker-led Panthers team. No CMC, no Teddy Bridgewater. You're gonna get, most likely, since he's practicing, Kenny Galladay's gonna play. Stafford's probably gonna play. That means the Lions team's getting healthier. T.J. Hawkins is probably gonna play. So
you are just wrong. About what?
Oh, when I picked Carolina, if both quarterbacks are out. Look, the Lions have not won a game when Matthew Stafford's not their quarterback. It's very hard to pick him if he's not going to play. If he's playing, I'm picking him. That's what I'm saying. They're going to win this game. If Stafford plays, Lions win. Tennessee at Baltimore. This game is tricky because these two teams have split personalities. Both of them do. Okay? Tennessee's lost 3 of 4. And sometimes they look like one of the best teams in football, and sometimes you're like, how does this team ever win any games? And unfortunately this year, Baltimore fans, your team's almost the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
The team I watched Sunday night would not beat very many teams in the NFL. Sorry, Baltimore fans, that's true. Lamar Jackson looks horrible at times.
Yeah.
And then there are times where you're like, wow, he can do it all. So it's just, he's very inconsistent, and that's not good when you were the MVP last year. That's the one guy you should be able to count on to be always on his game. I know he doesn't have a lot of weapons out there. I know Hollywood Brown didn't turn out to be what you guys wanted him to be. I know that Mark Andrews drops a lot of passes nowadays.
Yeah.
So Willie Snead being your most reliable target is probably not the most ideal situation. But either way, Lamar's got to find a way to make some kind of plays. I won't fault it all on him, but when you're the former MVP, you kind of get held to a higher standard than a lot of other quarterbacks do. And because of his inconsistent play, I'm going to take the Titans in this game because Ryan Tannehill still plays well, even with their losses, except for -1 game against the Bengals.
Yeah.
But Tannehill's the more reliable option. He's played better than Lamar over the last 21 starts.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you got Derrick Henry, who's kind of been held in check the last couple weeks. So he's waiting for a breakout game. Okay, he knows he's like, I'm 8 yards behind Dalvin Cook for the rushing title now. I need to break out some big runs. So I would expect a lot of Derrick Henry in this game. I know the Baltimore defense is good, but you just can only hold a player like Derrick Henry in check so many weeks in a row.
Yep.
He's too good for that. He's due a breakout, and I think the breakout happens here, and then it sets up play action for Ryan Tannehill all day. So I expect the Titans to take this one on the road.
Yeah, so when Lamar Jackson first took over in the NFL and he was just lights out, no one had an answer on how to even remotely slow him down, except for Patrick Mahomes just said, I'm just going to score more points than you. That was really the only way, and then the Tennessee Titans showed up. And they just ran Engage 8 on defense over and over and over and over and over again. And you took Lamar out of the equation. When you take Lamar as a runner out of the game, you really don't want Lamar as a passer on your team because that's not a great look. And so Tennessee kind of opened up the book on how to stop Lamar. And I see them really replicating what they did in the playoffs last year, using the same exact strategy because the Ravens didn't really do anything on offense to change to make themselves more dynamic. They added J.K. Dobbins. Okay, congrats. The guy hasn't really done anything this season.
Yeah, one game.
Yeah. So, no, I think the Titans are heavy underdogs in this game, but I don't really see why. I think the Titans are going to win this game outright, and they're going to kind of right their own ship. So I have the Titans winning this game.
Oh, yeah, and another reason that I have the Titans winning this game is because they have more to play for. Baltimore's not going to win their division. Tennessee is right there to win their division, so it's just another reason for the Titans to want to put this one out. So go ahead.
All right, so we have the Jets traveling to L.A. to face the Chargers. Chargers.
Yeah, you know what would really piss Dylan off?
If you pick the Jets.
If the Chargers charger this weekend.
Oh my God! Could you
imagine losing to the Jets on the last play of the game?
I would just stop. I would get rid of my Herbert jersey. I'd get rid of my Bosa jersey. That's not even the right number.
Oh man, I'm gonna pick the Chargers, but I actually did hesitate for a minute just because of what the Chargers do. I'm like, it would be such a Charger thing to lose to the Jets. It really would. It honestly, absolutely would. And for that point alone, I hesitated. But I'm going to take the Chargers just because I think the Jets are the worst team I've ever seen play football. And if the Chargers do lose to the Jets, Dylan, pick a new team, dude.
Yeah, for real.
So.
All right. The next one's on you.
Yeah, that's right. Miami at Denver. Miami's been hot. I can't pick against them, even in Denver. Drew Lock threw 4 picks last week against the Raiders' defense. Miami's defense is better. So I would expect another rough day for Lock again. Not putting any judgment on Lock for the season. He's had a lot to deal with. But he's not getting any easier, these defenses that he's playing.
Right.
So a lot of times his young players don't show up either. And Tua, everything's clicking right for the Dolphins. Defense, special teams, the offense, everything is clicking. I think Flores is like low-key a Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
Easy. Honestly, last week I said my vote wouldn't be for Flores for Coach of the Year, but I may change my pick because he's just winning games and they shouldn't be. Is he
playing?
Who?
Drew
Drew Lock. Oh yeah, it's not guaranteed he's going to start. They said I think he's day to day, and I honestly don't think he's going to start. I'm just making this pick just even if he is playing, they're not going to win this game. If he doesn't play, who the hell is their backup?
What? I can't even think of what his last name was, but that guy was trash. Started with an R.
Why can I not remember what it is? They're not going to win. Okay, like that's all I meant. I don't know who their backup is, but yeah, I was just saying even if Drew Lock does play, they're not going to win the game. So I just made the pick based on if Lock played. But there's just no I don't think there's any way that Denver wins this game.
Right. I'm in the same boat. I think the Dolphins, they're really hot, and the Broncos not so much. The Dolphins have a lot of good things going for them right now, and they're going to extend that to a streak to 4-0. So, next game we have Andy Dalton and the Cowboys traveling to Minnesota to feel the wrath of Kirk Vember. And
Red Rocket's back, huh?
yeah, well, he's leading the charge to start. He's still got a clear COVID protocol because he got hit so hard in the head that he got a concussion and COVID.
Jesus.
So, even if Andy Dalton starts, he didn't look that great in his 2 starts anyway. The smart move for the Cowboys would be let
Gilbert's looked the
Garrett
best.
Gilbert take the start and hope for the best. He took the Pittsburgh Steelers all the way down the wire, but it's Kirk Vember. The Dallas Cowboys are not good. I gotta give the edge to Minnesota, and it probably shouldn't be close. I know there's a lot of Bears fans who are like, oh, well, we shut Dalvin Cook down. Maybe we slowed him down. Wait until he faces the 32 ranked Dallas Cowboys run defense. He's gonna have 250 yards rushing at halftime. They're gonna pull him out of the game at halftime and let Madison get some touches to to avoid injury. Minnesota wins this game.
Okay, so for the Bears fans that say that you shut Dalvin Cook down, you did in a way. But I want to point out that before this game, Dalvin Cook in his career had 34 carries for 86 yards in 3 games. He had 95 against you guys in 1 game. And yes, I know he only averaged 3.3 yards per carry, but that is still progress. That's how hot Cook's been because you guys have only gave up 30 yards a game to him before this game, right? So now he gets 95, over 100 total yards. Yeah, you shut him down, but Cook's hot enough to continue that they just fed him anyways, and it opened up the pass.
Yep.
Dallas is not going to slow down Cook. They're not going to slow down Cousins. They're not going to slow down anybody because that defense is that bad. So I would expect a lot of points put on the board in Minnesota unless they score like 21 really quickly and then they just let their foot off the gas. But even then, they'll continue to run the ball, and I think Dalvin Cook alone can put up a lot more points still than that even.
Right.
So Minnesota's defense is getting better every week. Last week, they got 100 passing yards or something like that, or 101 or something like that. I know it's just Chicago, but that's still impressive against any team.
Yeah.
When you can allow that few passing yards, because even the worst of passing teams can get over 101 passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Smith was everywhere on the field last week. You got to watch out for him in the secondary. The defensive line has been on fire for Minnesota ever since Yannick left, which is absolutely insane to say. But Odenigbo, I found out how to pronounce his name, has absolutely picked up all the slack on that defensive line, and he looks like a force. I'm excited to see him with Hunter next year. But yeah, the Vikings are clicking on all cylinders right now. If the Dolphins weren't in the league, they'd be the hottest team in football right now. Watch out for that. It's not a good formula for Dallas, who wants to try to compete in the NFC East here. Well, just expect another L this weekend. So Minnesota in a blowout. Green Bay, Indy. This game is gonna be like the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. You got Green Bay's powerhouse offense versus the number 1 defense in the NFL clashing together. Like this is all sorts of watch out for Green Bay.
Yeah.
I am going to take the Packers in this game, but with zero confidence I'm taking the Packers in this game because that defense for Indy has shown over and over and over again that they will keep Indy in that game until the final second. So Phillip Rivers is not that good anymore, but all they got to do is make 1 play. That's how good Indy's defense is at this point.
Allen Lazard is back.
That does help. That absolutely helps. I was going to get to that when I got to the Packers side of things, but even with Lazard back, I think Indy's defense is good enough they're going to keep them right in that game. So they just got to make 1 play. Unfortunately, I don't trust Rivers enough to make that 1 play. I'm going to take Green Bay in like a 17-14, 20-17 type game. Indy's defense just pounds away and just holds them in the game until Rodgers finally makes that play at the end. to put them up because that's what quarterbacks like Rodgers do. They'll find a way in the fourth quarter to finally make that play. But man, this has got upset written all over it. So actually, it wouldn't even be an upset. Don't Vegas have Indy as the favorites?
Yep.
An upset in most people's minds, but apparently not in Vegas's mind.
So Vegas gives the home team an automatic 3-point favorite to start, unless it's a really bad team, and then they just subtract 3 points from the away team. But Aaron Rodgers is not going to like waking up and seeing that his Packers, which are fighting for the number 1 seed in the NFC, are underdogs against the Colts.
Are they are the number 1 seed right now?
Yeah, but they're going to have to deal with New Orleans and Tampa Bay. And
yeah,
they're fighting for the number 1.
It was more just a question. I understood what you said, but
and the Colts defense has looked really good, but challenge me if I'm wrong, but the Colts haven't had to face a wide receiver like Davante Adams yet, and Davante Adams is a monster.
How are you gonna say AJ Brown isn't like Davante Adams?
No. Davante Adams has, for me, put up the case this season, and it's a shame that I haven't given him the credit throughout his career. But he's making the case this season that he is the best wide receiver in football. I know you have arguments with Julio and D-Hop. They have a longer track record of it. But watching Davante Adams play, that is a dominant man out there. That is a man playing against boys, and it's almost unfair.
He's almost as good as Justin Jefferson. It's crazy.
I know Griffin's getting hard listening to me talk about Davante Adams like this, but I think any team in the NFL would be lucky to have a guy that
It's true.
good. And I don't know how the Colts are going to match up very well against him. Xavier Rhodes would not be a good matchup, so you're going to have to put Rocky Sin on him. And arguably put 2 guys on him. And when you do that, you might see Aaron Jones break out some pretty decent runs or catches out of the backfield. I know Allen Lazard's back. Allen Lazard is not really, in my mind, he shouldn't be the number 2 weapon there. I think MVS is freaking amazing. That guy is a great deep ball artist. I have the Packers winning.
His hands are so suspect.
Yeah, but he can get back behind that defense, and he's just...
No, he can, but it's just like he's the type of player that where Packers fans have even told me this. Like, you got to hold your breath when the ball is, like, on their way. You're like, because you just don't know if he's going to drop it or not.
I feel like when MVS is running past his secondary, he can literally go take a nap at the 1-yard line, wake up, and the ball is still coming to him, and no one's found him back there. So...
That part's true.
I have the Packers winning this game, and I don't have a 17-14 game or...
Yeah, he does.
It's better
I've seen it.
It's better than Aguilar with the Eagles. He caught with nothing. But I think this is going to be probably like a 27-17 game with the Packers pulling out top. I really like what the Colts are doing on defense, but they haven't had to face an offense that's like what Green Bay brings to the table. And I just don't trust Philip Rivers to keep the game that close. I think he's going to do enough to kind of keep it relatively until the third quarter, and then the Packers are going to pull away at the end. Packers are going to win this football game. Kansas City versus the Raiders. So this one is a surprisingly hard pick because Kansas City's only lost 1 game this year, and it was to the Raiders.
The Raiders.
In Kansas City. Now they got to travel
to the Dome.
To the Dome, the Death Star, the Black Hole, whatever you want to call it. They got to go there and win. And on paper, you should scream Kansas City's going to win, but you can't really scream that with how well the Raiders match up with the Chiefs. But I don't see Kansas City getting swept by the Raiders, so I'm having Kansas City get their revenge game. They're going to beat the Raiders 31-28, and Tyreek Hill's going to have a monster game. He's going to outduel Henry Ruggs, and Patty's going to get his win.
I picked the Raiders. Last time they played, I called the upset. Brent was right here. You can go back and watch it. I called the upset last time they played. I nailed the upset last time they played. I've been preaching for the last 2 years that the Raiders are going to wind up being Patrick Mahomes' kryptonite. Okay, they're the only team that's done a good job of making Patrick Mahomes look uncomfortable. And he has looked uncomfortable. playing the Raiders. Okay, watch the game last time they played. I know they ended up putting up 30 points, but there's a difference between the Kansas City offense that you see every other week and the Kansas City offense you see play against the Raiders, where they were playing with desperation against the Raiders because they couldn't do anything to stop them on offense. And they were doing a good job at covering those Kansas City receivers. I don't know what they did. I am not like a professional expert by any means. I do this for fun. I have no idea what they did. I've watched that game twice. I have no idea what they did in that game, but Patrick Mahomes could not find open guys like he normally could. That not to mention they were getting to Patrick Mahomes in that game. They were hitting him, and he's not used to that.
Yeah.
So whatever the formula they did, they need to repeat it again defensively. Offensively, the Raiders are a good offense. They're going to put points on the board. If it's not by Derek Carr, it's by Josh Jacobs, and it kind of alternates depending on the week. But the players are all young. They're very explosive out there. Even Aguilar, he learned how to catch the ball. He's always good for one deep pass a game, and that could be where they need it. Henry Ruggs has been kind of quiet this year, but his big breakout game was against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
118 receiving yards on only 2 catches. That's crazy. Start covering deep because Henry Ruggs knows he had 118 yards. So does Derek Carr and John Gruden. Trust me. So Hunter Renfrow is always good for those down underneath passes when you're trying to get those 3rd and 4s and stuff like that. So expect Darren Waller to get a lot of work in this game as well. Now Kansas City's going to put points on this board. Vegas cannot afford to have turnovers in this game, or it will cost them and cost me the pick. Because Mahomes is not going to turn the ball over. He just doesn't do that. Look at his stats. He's not a turnover guy. Travis Kelce is 3rd in the league in receiving yards. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
It's absolutely insane. He's killing it this year, and he's not being talked about, which is crazy because usually Kelce's talked about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's been the media's been so quiet about him this year, and he's absolutely killing it. So I would expect them to utilize him a lot in this game, but this game is going to be good, fun to watch. If you guys have an opportunity to watch the Sunday night game, I would suggest keeping your eyeballs on that television because this could be one of 3 times they play this year. So
interesting note: the Chiefs just signed today the former first-round pick from last year, DeAndre Baker,
to the practice squad.
He'll probably be elevated to the active roster very soon, but when he's not robbing banks and houses, he's robbing the secondary. So, Chiefs big.
All right, Monday night game, Rams, Bucks. Okay, a few weeks ago, my head would have told me the Bucks should win this easy, but you've seen the Bucks be susceptible the last few weeks, and you've seen the Rams play some really good football the past few weeks. And low key, that Rams defense is number 2 in the league. And no one talks about it.
Number 1 against the pass.
Number 1 against the pass, number 2 overall. They don't have a weakness really on that defense anywhere because I think their run defense is like top 5 too. So that spells disaster for Tampa Bay here. I don't think you're gonna blow them out like the Saints did. I don't think too many teams are gonna do that to a team as talented as Tampa Bay. But Mike Evans is gonna be completely taken out of this game. Jalen Ramsey will have a field day on him. So it's going to be up to Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin to make plays. We haven't seen too much out of Antonio Brown. He had a couple catches last week. He gets really excited when he gets a 6-yard catch, I've noticed. He must, I don't want to bash on him too much. I'm glad that he's having fun playing the game again, and his 6-yard catch makes him really happy. So do what you got to do, but I haven't seen enough from him to think that he's going to be a difference maker in this game. So it all comes down to whether Chris Godwin can make the plays that he hasn't done this year. Was he a one-hit wonder? Find out. But right now, that Rams defense is clicking, and I got to take the Rams. I got to take the Rams in this game just because of their defense. So,
yeah, I'm going in the opposite direction. I'm going Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they know that there's a chance here with the Saints missing Breeze that they can probably sneak back up into the division, so they're going to play a little harder. I do agree that Mike Evans is going to be a non-factor in this game. Jalen Ramsey is really good at making people his little kid. Jalen Ramsey is the daddy of wide receivers in the NFL. But you have Chris Godwin, you have Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, and then you have that two-headed running attack in Lenny Fournette and
Fournette's a non-factor.
and Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones went off last week. he knew that there was a little heat on his ass, and a lot of people had projected that Leonard Fournette would already take the job by now. It looks like they're going to keep doing a 1A and 1B scenario with Ronald Jones taking the lead. I think there's just too many weapons on Tampa Bay for the Rams to just kind of neutralize it. Besides Jalen Ramsey, that secondary is really lacking in key difference makers. They have a pretty good overall defense, but I think that Tampa Bay matches up really well. I see Antonio Brown having his best game so far, which isn't saying too terribly much. I think he had 69 yards against the Panthers last week, but I think you could honestly see an Antonio Brown that cracks the century mark in this game. There's just all the focus is going to be taking Mike Evans out of the game, and Antonio Brown really shouldn't he could be a number one on just about any team in the NFL, minus a few. And he's the number 3 there. So he's going to get open. Tom Brady's really good at finding out holes in the defense as long as you're not the Saints. So I have...
He's played 2 really shitty games against the Saints.
Yeah. I have Tampa Bay winning this game, and should be a pretty good one.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. So here's a question for you. Can the Rams double Chris Godwin because you can expect Jalen Ramsey to just take on Mike Evans on his own?
If they do that, then I see the running game just going absolute nuts.
Because that would take the passing game pretty much out of the equation. I mean, Antonio Brown will probably get his yards in at that point, but...
What about Gronk? Gronk has been he's got 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games.
Nobody's scared of Gronk like they used to be, though.
Yeah, but he's showing that he's a playmaker again. Just took him a little bit to put some of that weight back on because he had to lose it all for WWE. But
that doesn't make any sense. I think he just lost it all because he stopped working out.
He went from big to little fast. But no, I think there's just way too many ways. If you took away Chris Godwin, I think that Antonio Brown, Gronk, and Brait are gonna just thrive on the underneath stuff, and it just might be too much for them.
We'll see. It should be a good game.
Yeah, I'm gonna love watching. This is a lot better than last week's Monday Night Football.
Last 2 weeks Monday Night Football games. All right. Thanks everybody for watching us. We enjoy your support, and we'll see you.